Yes, Dr. Magnus told you?
No, actually, I was watching you looking at me.
Really?
Profiler looks, listens, gauges, senses, calculates, compares. Am I really a doctor? Am I really who I say I am? It tells. Giveaways, twitch of an eye, the odd unnatural pull.
You have dirt under a single fingernail. Did you scratch at something?
Did I?
I think so. Something green, verdigris. Oxidized bronze.
The door knocker.
To test its age.
Reproductions are rampant. I would have been so disappointed.
And from that, you got profiled.
Or more, your instantaneous threat assessment. Was that a bomb strapped to his chest? Is the accent authentic? Is he casing the room? That's a profiler.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Yes, of course you are.
And people tell me I sound like Sherlock Holmes.
Actually, Will, that's exactly who he is.
So you don't mean that your Dr. Watson really is Sherlock Holmes?
Not the literary figure, of course. But yes, Conan Doyle did model the character after James's brilliant deductive mind.
So why did he get relegated to the sidekick in the stories?
At Watson's insistence. He preferred to let Holmes take center stage while he played the fawning acolyte in the wings.
And his genius...
Was exponentially increased when he became one of the five.
So what about the bodies he brought here?
They're being prepared for an autopsy in a biosafe environment.
You know, if this disease really does turn abnormals into psychotic killers, then in theory, you, Henry, the big guy, are all potentially susceptible.
Ashley, too, in theory. Anyone with the DNA of our kind could suddenly be stricken with psychotic aggression.
You know, I've done that dance with you once, a half mile under the ocean. I'm not anxious to do it again.
Nor am I, Will.
Body is that of a male abnormal. Odovenus rosmarus sapien. A genetic melange of human and walrus.
Cuckoo could chew.
Cause of death, multiple gunshot wounds suffered during a reported firefight. After the subject allegedly slaughtered 3 out of 4 family members.
What she means is the Abbey went psycho and then got shot to bloody hell.
You always did have the gift for brevity.
It's not the ballistics we're interested in. We'll need samples of every organ.
The scalpel is yours, Doctor.
Thank you.
You know, James, you really are a walking medical miracle.
I think walking is a bit of an exaggeration. Without these exoskeletal powered braces, I fear I would be confined to a wheelchair.
Nothing to be ashamed of at 160.
Anyway, if I'm a miracle, what does that make you?
My gift was longevity. Yours was far more profound.
Care to switch?
How's the serum transaminase going?
Inconclusive levels. The fact that behavioral changes are the first clinical presentation make this diagnosis very prickly.
Well, John was unaffected despite being exposed at ground zero. Which suggests that the special qualities of the 5 might well provide an immunity factor. Until the tests come back, I'll be looking at my own blood as a way to combat the disease.
Tell me what the test will show, or would you rather be surprised?
A man-made pathogen.
Psychosis-inducing agent that affects only abnormals has to be by design.
John believes the Kabbalah's behind it.
Well, John draws his insights from an affinity with evil. I have great faith in his analysis.
I've released him from isolation.
Now, if you could only release yourself.
I'm sorry.
Our contacts are too seldom, too brief. Considering I'm the leader of your largest satellite operation.
It's out of respect for your autonomy as much as anything else.
Most people go back to their oldest contacts for solace, Helen. You defy that convention, but then you always have.
Well, we're together now, aren't we?
If only the circumstances were more agreeable.
So what is that?
A necessary component for my survival. Not much we can do till the results come in the morning. Not that I think Helen will sleep very much.
Tell me, young man, what is it like to work for a woman?
A woman like Dr. Magnus? It's a privilege.
What Watson means is what's it like for someone who hasn't been dragged by a scruff into the 21st century. And the century before that.
Most men's failures haunt them for a lifetime. Mine have haunted me for 2.
What failure?
The Ripper case. Confounded me like no other.
You came close, James. You don't know how close.
Night after night, I poured my insights out to you, never knowing that the target of my manhunt was the man who dissected my suppositions.
I was in the grip of something I couldn't control. I think you know that.
Fact remains, you gave the lie to all my bravado. You shattered my belief that I could see beyond what a mere mortal could.
A little sensitivity here. We're in the presence of a mere mortal.
Young Will here has the makings of a decent detective. Perhaps he would have seen what I could not.
I'm sorry, it's amazing to me. Sherlock Holmes, Jack the Ripper. The fact that you two can sit here together and
Time is a great healer. Redemption. That requires a little more.
Oh, you ooze judgment, Doctor, like a weeping sore.
And a life devoted to justice, sir. To constant burr on my backside that you have avoided it.
Justice is meted out in many ways. You're not the only one haunted.
You gotta believe that fate has brought you two together for a reason.
Yes, why are you here, Druid?
Well, to save the world as we know it. And, time allowing, reassert my superiority in our battle of wits.
It's really hard to know how this sucker works. So much chop, so little suey.
But you think Cryo was involved?
Well, it looks like the bioagent was cooled way down before being vaporized.
The latest data suggests the rate of infection is slowing.
That's a good thing, isn't it?
First dispersal was a test, a dry run, I'm certain of that.
To measure the effectiveness of what I'm beginning to think is some sort of neurotoxin.
Dispersal device of sufficient size could well blanket the globe.
We need to find out what their capabilities are.
Our intelligence has the Cabal's weapons laboratories in several far-flung places.
Including one very close to home.
Yeah, like just outside of New City, if I remember right. Oh, hang on a second. I think I got something here.
What is it?
Looks like one of the microcapsules survived detonation.
That's a pure sample of the agent.
Put it in a biosafe container, Henry. Just be very, very careful.
You know those little mechanical arms that pick up stuffed toys at arcades? 4-time state champion.
We're looking at one of the most dangerous pathogens the abnormal world has ever seen. It functions very much like a prion on steroids.
The rogue protein found in mad cow disease.
Replicates inside the abnormal's brain, causing deeply pathological aggression.
And eventually a very painful death.
But according to the tests, we can say with certainty that the mode of transmission is not person to person. It's not communicable. That's the good news.
But the susceptibility to antivirals is nil.
The fact is, prion disease is largely incurable. I still think our best hope is to find something in our own blood. Possibly an antigen that could inhibit the disease.
Yeah, that would explain why we are apparently immune.
Because you all injected the source blood. It's pretty powerful stuff.
Even if we can't find something in our individual blood that could stop the disease, it may well be that the source blood could, in the form of a synthesized antitoxin.
Except that the ancient blood was used up over 120 years ago.
Not all of it.
What?
My father wanted to destroy what was left. Eventually, he agreed to set aside the unused portion of the vial, only to be tapped in the most dire of emergencies. And he made sure that only the 5 of us acting in concert could retrieve it.
Which is a bit of a problem if, in fact, I have killed Tesla.
Even if Nicola managed to survive, the last of the 5, Nigel Griffin, could not possibly be enlisted.
Because?
Because Griffin died half a century ago.
The situation may not be as hopeless as you think, James.
You have the power to revive the dead. Now, that would impress me.
Before he died in the early 60s, Griffin wrote me a letter declaring that his legacy had been passed on. There's a daughter, Anna. With any luck, we could track her down and convince her to take on her father's role in our mission.
Hold on a second. You said that only the 5 acting together could retrieve the blood.
The powers of the 5, to be more accurate.
So what's Griffin's power?
Nigel Griffin? He was the Invisible Man.